And now the credits begin, accompanied by a semi-instrumental version of the updated theme song. Because if you'll listen closely, you'll notice that the farm sounds kind of like abruptly cut off, where they dubbed the audio over when they changed the music in 2000. So let's take a look at the credits here, see what we got. You got the credits with the big, bold font style, produced by Cecily Truett and Larry Lansitz, like all of the early episodes. Larry and Cecily were the original creators of the show. Directed by Hugh Martin, written by Patty Sullivan, and Ronnie Cross was one of the field producers. And Ronnie Cross also wrote a book called Take a Look, It's in a Book, How Television is Made at Reading Rainbow. That's a picture book for kids that shows how an episode of Reading Rainbow is made, and the episode that they used for that was Always My Dad, which came out in the 90s. It's a real temptation to read off all these credits for you, because I see these names in almost all of the earlier episodes, I know most of them now. Especially because in these earlier episodes, they don't scroll along the screen from the bottom to the top, they just kind of cut from one to another and stay still. Music director Steve Horlick, music by Patchworks. Phenomenal job on this episode. These 80s tunes are so epic. I enjoy this so much. Hey, that answers my question right there. I didn't even have to look at the closed captions. Milk Trotters animation by Art Bear Pigmation, narrated by Marv Albert. How did I not see that? It was there all along in the credits. I should have known it would be there. Art Bear Pigmation was not the studio that did the original opening, though. The intro... Oh, yeah, here we go. Opening animation by Ovation Films Incorporated. They didn't bother changing that part of the credits even after they replaced the opening scene with the more modern animation, because the newer one, like I mentioned before, was made by Black Logic, but the original one was made by Ovation Films. So it's a different studio that made the Milk Trotters, even though the style is very similar to the original opening. Editor James C. Wright. Every episode of Reading Rainbow is beautifully edited, with the exception of the sloppy job they did with replacing the theme song later. But everything else is great as far as editing. One thing I've never quite understood here was why under post-production audio it says Briggs Bakery. Was this some little audio editing studio in the back room of a bakery somewhere? I'm not quite sure how that works. Did somebody working at the bakery have this hobby of doing audio stuff and he volunteered to do work for Reading Rainbow? I don't know. Briggs Bakery, is that even a real bakery, or is that just a silly name for a recording studio? I have no idea. Ooh, favorite part of the credits. Special thanks to the Moonglow Dairy, Moss Landing, California, the Rika Dairy, Salinas, California, Ignazio Vella Vella Cheese Company, Sonoma, California. It's interesting that Lavarge just simply called it the Vella Cheese Factory when its full name is actually Ignazio Vella Vella Cheese Company in Sonoma, California. Oh, wait a minute, I'm reading this wrong. I just googled it. Ignazio Vella was the name of the guy who founded the Vella Cheese Company. Okay, that makes more sense. So it really is Vella Cheese Company. Okay, my bad. Oh wow, even more California. Sunrise Winery, Cupertino, California. Campbell Inn, San Jose, California. John Seibert's California Cooperative Creamery. Well, that answers that question. They cheated in My America when they did the Minnesota segment and they said the Minnesota state drink is milk. That cow was not from Minnesota. It was one of these from California. So I'm going to assume that the Moonglow Dairy in Moss Landing was where LeVar met the Calcagno farmers and learned how to milk a cow by hand and learned how baby calves are taken care of. And the Rika Dairy in Salinas was where he learned how to use the milking machine. Oh yeah, look at this. I just found a news article from Monterey Herald. It says, Lou Calcagno, an influential leader in Monterey County dies at 87, a highly respected dairyman of Moonglow Dairy in Moss Landing. Yes, that's definitely it. Lou Calcagno was the guy who taught LeVar how to milk a cow by hand. It's spelled Calcagno. Lou Calcagno. He passed away at 87 just 2 years ago, December 2023. So that scene with LeVar sitting at the picnic table with his lunch, reading the ingredients in the milk and talking about dairy allergies and other foods that contain some of the same nutritional elements that milk has, was that shot at this little inn or winery? Sunrise Winery and Campbell Inn. That Campbell Inn looks way too fancy to have been on Reading Rainbow. I didn't see anything that looks like this. I wonder if that's where the production crew stayed when they made this episode. That might have been it. So yeah, I don't know how the winery would have played into this. I don't know if they just asked them if they could use their yard so LeVar could sit there with his lunch or whatever. Who knows? I'm looking at the scene again with LeVar cranking the ice cream maker. Looking at those trees behind him, that almost looks a little bit like it could be a winery. Maybe they just used that place for, like, kind of a background scene. It's kind of nice.